Hello everyone, my name is Bo. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing Fort Solis. The game dropped on August 22nd of this year, 2023. It launched on PS5 and PC. I happen to play the PS5 version. I've got this review structured into 5 sections. I've got an intro, gameplay, performance, trophies, and a verdict. If the video is too long for you, you can jump below to points of interest. On this channel, I will always use timestamps. And just to let you know, there will be spoilers. So let's get started. Fort Solis is located on planet Mars. The location of the base camp is just a stone's throw away from where the game starts out. The game starts out introducing you to the 2 playable characters within the storyline. In the very opening scene, Jessica Appleton, voiced by Julia Brown, is seen fixing storm damage, much to the chagrin of her partner Jack Leary, who is voiced by Roger Clark. Jack thinks he is already on his much-deserved vacation when he gets a notification via his communication device built into his suit. The alert comes from Fort Solis, and due to the obscure nature of the message, Jack reluctantly decides to investigate the alert on his own because Jessica needs to stay and fix the storm damage before more storms move in and make matters worse. Upon Jack's arrival, he notices that Fort Solis is on complete lockdown, and all attempts to enter the facility and communicate with fellow employees of Terra have failed. Terra is a large mining corporation, and that is the reason for Fort Solis's existence and geographical location. The only other character that shows up in the game that is not displayed on a screen or in a voice recording is Wyatt Taylor, the game's antagonist, but more on him later. Fort Solis is a third-person sci-fi adventure game where you largely just explore the base camp, searching for clues about everyone's disappearance and why the place is on lockdown. Early on in Chapter 1, you'll notice that Jack is not overly concerned about the current situation that he finds himself in, as he likes to drink on the job, play pool, and pretend to take down his worst enemy while messing around with a punching bag in the gym. He'll need that practice for the end of the game. All of those tasks are all awarded trophies should you want to go for the platinum in this game on PS5. The way that the clues are unveiled is by going into various rooms throughout Fort Solis and listening to voice logs, reading emails, and watching videos. The first 2 chapters of the game take the longest because you're learning the layout of Fort Solis. The game doesn't help you out much because they provide you with a tiny map on either of the characters' forearm. On console, on the PS5, I literally had to get up out of my chair and squint standing right next to my TV screen. If you're playing this game on PC, I hope this was a better experience for you. Outside of that, there are a few puzzles to solve in the game to help you progress. Sometimes progressing through the story means taking note of something you see in somebody's office, or something Jess tells you about via the comms system because she can see what's going on in the database on her end too. Sometimes you have to open up doors on the computer, and even more common than that is finding key cards and physical key cards that help you gain access to the next area. In the later chapters, when you're controlling Jess, she has more physical puzzles to solve. She has to remove a light that fell down outside of the server room, and then once you get into the server room, she has to override the computers to shut down the lockdown. The gameplay largely consists of exploring and learning about the fellow employees of Terra. There's not much more to it than that. But the story is interesting, and I enjoy a lack of combat and self-defense weapons. It adds to the intensity in an otherwise dull game. The dopamine hits when the story picks up and you feel that this lockdown went from a false alarm to a life-threatening situation with a murderer on the loose. There are two main glitches I want to talk about. One is in the server room when Jess has to figure out how to bring the servers back online. This puzzle was annoying to begin with because I think the game wants you to click the power button on the server a couple of times and then it eventually shuts off. But I wasn't too sure when I had to hit it, 20, 30 times, and then all of a sudden the game just glitched out on me, as you see here. She just stops moving, and that was that. But this was on my second playthrough that this glitch happened. The first time I experienced the phenomenon where she would hit the button a couple of times and then the server would go off. So I'm not entirely sure if the game was actually just trying to trip you up a little bit and make you think something was happening, but it wasn't. I don't know. This one was frustrating because this took way longer than it needed to. The second glitch was just kind of funny. It didn't really waste any of my time, but I think you had to go outside a couple of times during gameplay to get from, room to room. But in this instance, this glitch happened when I think I was just walking around outside trying to get the Dust Dancing trophy. And so you can take a listen to this. So the performance settings in Fort Solis are pretty sparse. There's not a whole lot you can do. I think in the performance mode, as you see here, it's supposed to give you better frame rate. Things are supposed to render quicker. But, I'm looking up at the ceiling right here, and a lot of that is because whenever you were inside, it seemed like this was the case on PS5. To me, it looked like there was water on the ground and you were seeing the reflection of light passing through water on top of the ceiling. And then if you go this room right here, you see that screen is flickering. I know that that's supposed to be like a creepy effect that the game gives you. I think that's supposed to happen. But to me, when I switched to quality or performance, obviously that's still going to happen because they put that in there for a reason. But there were parts where I couldn't really tell if it was flickering because the quality was so bad or the frame rate was so bad. So when the game's not performing that well and you can't tell what is supposed to be there and what's not, that's when it became kind of frustrating to me. To be honest with you, this wasn't a super big deal, but I couldn't really notice a super big difference between performance and quality. I would go performance on this one and just take the better frame rate. There are only a couple things I want to point out when it comes to trophy hunting, because I've already mentioned them a couple of times in this review. There are some missable trophies in this game, so I want to help you out there. There are multiple endings to the game, by the way, which is a trophy in and of itself. Just real quick, all you have to do to get the alternate ending is ignore the QuickTime events after you leave the building as Jack is scrambling to get to the next one. Beyond that, in your first playthrough, before the ending in the greenhouse, in the drill bay hangar room, there are a few things you have to inspect before leaving, and they all have prompts, except for the banner that's kind of hidden. Then, once you get outside, make sure to inspect the flag before you climb up to the roof. As long as you get those, you can go back and get all other collectibles to earn your Terra Tour Guide trophy, which will likely be the last trophy you earn because it is the most difficult, especially if you missed something and don't know where it is. This can add hours to your gameplay, and to be honest, it's not worth it in my opinion. If you're left wandering around looking for lost collectibles, there are around 120 to collect, by the way. It could take forever because of the pace of the walking. It is no doubt slow, and this is one of the biggest criticisms of the game. Some folks are referring to it as a walking simulator. The only time I felt like it was a walking sim was when I was trying to earn my Dust Dancing trophy, because all that trophy is literally just walking around outside in the storm, just waiting and waiting for the trophy to pop. You'll naturally get some of those steps during gameplay because the game does take you outside, but this was kind of lame. The developers who came up with that trophy made it a walking sim to begin with just by having that in there. I didn't mind it so much during gameplay because there was built-in suspense and I felt safe and secluded in those rooms that I was searching. If you're missing a bunch of collectibles, you might want to start over and follow a guide on a second playthrough, but otherwise I would say the whole experience was around 15 hours with multiple playthroughs just to get my platinum. One of the reasons I play games like this is because I like being scared. Someone once told me if you feel lonely, play a horror game or watch a scary movie by yourself in the dark and you'll no longer feel like you're the only one in the room. This theory largely holds true with this game as well. Just watch this scene from the game real quick.
It's easy. Open the door. Open the door. Open the door. Open the fucking door! I'm sorry I got mad. Sometimes I just... Boom! Jesse, think about what you're doing.
I am.
It's been a long night, and I'm just trying to contain this.
That happened because Wyatt took down Jack and stole his helmet to antagonize Jess after she defended herself from Wyatt and separated the two at the entrance of Fort Solis. This happens at the start of Chapter 3, and the last two chapters of the game go by really fast because instead of spending the first two chapters reading, watching, and listening, and learning about the crew, Jess doesn't care about any of that crap. She is on a mission to find her partner Jack. The whole time Wyatt is messing with her, even when he could probably trap her inside Fort Solis. He keeps telling her to come to the green room, where Jack already is. You think to yourself as you're navigating the halls and walking outside to get to the server room that Wyatt will jump out at any minute, but he never does. He just ambushes Jess at the end. The idea that you're so isolated on a foreign planet, you can't go anywhere outside without a spacesuit, that thought alone is terrifying. You would feel absolutely trapped. Wyatt missed his family, and the family he had at Fort Solis, i.e. his co-workers, started to dissipate, and they lost respect for Wyatt when his behavior and mental health took a turn for the worst.
I know that these medical logs are designed to aid our mental health, and should anyone actually monitor these things, I want you to know that as a medical officer, I concur. In theory. But in practice, I need to spend time with my family.
One part of the game that stuck with me was when Tara demanded that their employees make vlog-style videos to aid their mental health, but in Wyatt's case, watching his family on a screen, coupled with the abandonment of his co-workers, made him lose his mind. This fictional game was set in the year 2080, which could theoretically still be in my lifetime, but if this were ever to become a reality, I would have no interest in going to Mars for this very reason. It looks like mental health will still be stigmatized and largely ignored even 50 some odd years from now. I'm judging the game based on how it made me feel, based on what I like in spooky and eerie games. I am taking into account game design and performance, etc., all of that stuff, but to a lesser degree, considering Fallen Leaf is a new indie developer. The dev's saving grace here is an incredible story and amazing voice actors to carry it out. To be honest, the moment I learned Troy Baker was voicing Jack Leary, I pre-ordered the game right then and there and played the game on day one. None of the characters disappointed, and I liked seeing Troy Baker in an antagonist role because I'm so used to him being Joel from The Last of Us, in my mind. I'm excited to see more from Fallen Leaf, but as far as this project goes, I'm giving the game a 6.8 out of 10. Thanks for watching that. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. I just want to let you know that this is going to be an ongoing series on the channel. I'm just getting going with my channel. I know what I want now. I know what I want to make. And I have the time to do it. I want the channel theme to be of the horror variety. And so, as I pump out game reviews, probably one a month, towards the end of the month, I'm gonna stick with shorter indie titles, something that's manageable for me with my experience level, which is none. They're not always going to be scary, but they are going to be, psychological thrillers. I mean, they're going to be spooky. And I look forward to it because I really enjoy indie titles. So what I can guarantee going forward is that every 13th of every month, I have an affiliation with that number. You're going to get something spooky. I don't want to say what it is quite yet. You'll just have to find out for yourself. But the first one there will be on October 13th. Friday, October 13th, no less. And then a game review at the end of every month. Of course, I plan to fill the void in between with stuff, but that isn't going to be guaranteed. The video on the 13th and the review at the end of the month will be. So if you enjoyed what you saw, I hope to see you around again. Thanks. Take it easy.